What's up? So, I'm making this video today because I need to describe the traits of non-physical objects. And that probably sounds confusing because an object, in the barest way that you could define it, is as something physical that you can interact with. But non-physical objects exist, and non-physical objects can be defined in almost, maybe not any way, but there's a vast number of ways that you can define these objects, because these objects are used for so many different processes, so many different interactions and reactions. These non-physical objects are a huge part of the way the universe works and how energy flows between different parts of the universe. And I guess the quickest way to define these objects is that they are three-dimensional. Obviously, anything that's energetic will encode some kind of information within it, but the intrinsically unique thing about non-physical objects is that they take up a space in ways that being in a physical body you wouldn't notice. And you could compare it to a soul, because a soul takes up space, a soul has a shape, these are all properties. Then a soul is a non-physical object. Although, I wouldn't define it as something inherent at all. But these non-physical objects are extremely important for understanding sort of like the relationship between the physical world and the non-physical world. And honestly, the first part of it is that these physical objects form in a vast amount of different ways. They can be created, they can form naturally, they can form in unnatural situations. These physical objects are not just reactions of the universe to different things that happen or stimuli, but these objects are also tools of conscious beings within this universe in order to interact in a certain specific way. So these objects that exist everywhere, despite our non-ability to view them or interact with them, the intrinsic part that they play in the universe is that they connect things. When you look at like a signpost on the street, you think of it more as like a point on a map. You don't really see it as something that connects. Maybe a train station, or a bus stop. But in the non-physical world, non-physical objects are kind of reversed. Because in the non-physical world, an object is honestly a catalyst for a variety of things. But the main thing that we use these objects for in our physical bodies is to move energy. And you're like, well, if these objects are created and we're using them, why do we use them to move energy instead of just moving energy without it? And that's the thing. We create non-physical objects to organize information. Because if information is like water, and it flows like water, then you need a container for it. You need some way to organize it, some way to store it. And these non-physical objects do just that. Just in the same way that a memory card stores information on a computer, so too do these non-physical objects store information in the non-physical parts of the universe that are connected everywhere. Now, a lot of people talk about how your thoughts affect reality around you, and how focusing your energy in a specific place can create a result. And you can see these effects to varying extents. In the kind of reality we live in right now, it can be hard to see concentrated effects of this. And one reason for that is that the universe has different environments within it. It's not just different environments, but it's kind of like seas of information. Because in some places in the universe, energy flows so easily, so specifically, so interconnectedly, that you can see the effects that energy has more. But in other places where energy isn't as densely bundled, where information doesn't flow as readily, where everything relating to everything else isn't as close, isn't as streamlined, then you see less of these energetic effects. And it's a part of this bigger picture, because when at least when I think about Earth, I think about how it's such a weirdly specific place. You know, like, everyone assumes that if you go out into the universe and you go on another planet, there's going to be the exact same rules that you have here. The only difference might be the gases in the air, the gravity level, maybe the sunlight level, and maybe there'll be creatures around. But that's a really naive approach to the unknown. It's really, really naive. I mean, it's better than no idea at all, but at the same time, that's not something that you would want to put sort of like important cultural guidestones or milestones on. So when you go to different places in the universe and you interact with them there's some places where information flows a lot more freely. And what do I say when I mean information? It's like, you know, if you're standing in a park and you think to yourself, I want some ice cream, right? What you're doing is you're calling forward thoughts related to ice cream. And, you know, if you were in a normal park, you know, maybe you'd start looking around, maybe you see someone selling ice cream, maybe you think to yourself, I need to go to the store and grab me a cup of ice cream or something. But if you go to like a park in a different part of the universe and you sit down and you think to yourself, I want ice cream, the world literally distorts around that point. It distorts around you. And you see it, you can feel it. You don't see it here, you don't feel it here, because information flows so slowly here, on this planet, around these bodies. And you don't have to be an alien body to feel the sensation. The only reason you don't see it as a human being is because you grew up being told it didn't matter. You know, there's a lot of people who are like, I'm not sensitive to psychic phenomena. You know, I can't see these things. I don't sense anything. Maybe that's because the last time you tried, you gave up. Or you forgot. Or you got scared. Or you feel like you can't do it. There's a whole world of things just outside of this confined idea of consciousness to the normal person. And I hate to be the person that says that you've got your head stuck in a hole underground, but the idea that you need some kind of special skill, or you're not the one, or this world won't exist for you, is kind of foolish. Because as far as worlds go in this universe, they always overlap. They're always interconnected. So, and a lot of people ask why, you know, why doesn't energy or information flow as well here? And I'm not exactly an expert on that kind of thing. And, you know, that might sound like a jerk thing to say when I was just describing to you what the opposite felt like. But when you come from a place in the universe where that happens naturally all the time, coming to Earth is a weird thing, okay? It's really freaking weird. But what I can say is that some places in the universe will always naturally occur in this way. This is not unnatural in itself. There are obviously unnatural things on this planet. Unnatural ideas, unnatural ways of living. Unnatural bodies even. But this portion of the universe itself, the area around Earth and its star, not unnatural. So when we get into what these effects are, what calling thoughts forward into your reality does, if we were to go back to that park where the distortion happened, when you think to yourself, I want ice cream, what happens is that the information around your reality flows so quickly that ice cream materializes in the quickest way it can, in the most, it's like a probable sense. If I thought to myself, I want ice cream, and I'm sitting in that metaphorical park, what would happen is that ice cream would manifest in the easiest way possible near me within that moment. So if someone, you know, runs up to me and is like, hey, you want ice cream, that's one way it can manifest. If suddenly I see out of nowhere this freaking person selling ice cream shows up, that's another way it can manifest. It can manifest by dropping on my head and me never figuring out where the hell it came from. There's a whole myriad of ways that it can manifest from. And, you know, I'm saying all this because you don't see this effect. You don't feel these ripples. You aren't aware of what's going on. But this happens all the time. Every single desire or thought we have, or impression or idea, creates these ripples in reality around us. And a lot of people take them for granted. A lot of people are like, you know what? You know, it's not real, or this is a byproduct of something else, or it just doesn't make sense. But these effects come from our thoughts. They come from our mind. They come from our consciousness. And it's because our consciousness resonates with the universe. You know, even if you're not resonating with your higher self, you're not resonating with anything in particular, the fact that you exist means that you're resonating. You're resonating in the moment. You're resonating in your body. Even if you died, you'd be resonating with the spiritual impression of all the information in your life. And that's what happens. So what happens when you collect all of these non-physical objects into your immediate surroundings is that the distortion gets bigger, the distortion happens faster. And so the more thoughts you have, and of course, you know, you can have thoughts that cancel each other's effect out at the same time. Many people have that, and that's why some things happen extremely slowly in their lives, despite them always thinking about it. It's because the other thoughts they have counteract that effect. And, you know, some people never get what they want, even though they think about it all the time, because some things are incredibly hard to manifest in this reality. And there's different reasons for that. Like people who want a bunch of money. One of the reasons it's hard to manifest is because people are manifesting scarcity right over there, or right over here. You know? You distort the world, but so does everyone else. So if someone else is distorting the world, and they're focusing on it more, and they're putting more towards it, obviously it's going to counteract yours. It's like magnets. But these thoughts are extremely important because despite the effect of the world around you, consistent thoughts in one direction will always yield a result. Always. You know, just because you don't see it or you feel like it's not happening doesn't mean that the universe isn't reacting to what you're thinking about. The universe always reacts. It's reacting constantly. Our reality is a result of it reacting to everything that exists here at the same time.
¿Cómo sabes?
So yeah, and I'll see you later.
No te creo.